All right, it's 2 o'clock, so let's go ahead and get started. All right, good afternoon. Let's come to order and go on the record, please. I'm Charlotte Mitchell, Chair of the Utilities Commission, and with me this afternoon are Commissioners Tanola D. Brown-Bland and Kimberly W. Duffley. I now call for hearing docket number W-1034 sub 9 in the matter of Eric M. Olsen, 3029 Tom Savage Drive, Harrisburg, North Carolina, 28705. On February 1st, 2021, Eric Olsen, to whom I will refer as the complainant, filed a complaint against Water Resources Incorporated, to which I will refer to as the respondent. On February 2nd, 2021, the Commission issued an order indicating that the complaint had been served on the respondent. The order directed the respondent to satisfy the demands of the complainant or to file an answer with the Commission by February 12th, 2021. As of April 29th, 2021, respondent had neither requested an extension of time to file its answer, satisfied the complaint, or filed an answer. As a result, the matter was scheduled for a show cause proceeding. By order issued April 29th, 2021, the respondent was ordered to appear and show cause, if any there be, why it should not be found that respondent has willfully failed to respond to the Commission's February 2nd order, and why the respondent should not be subject to such penalty or other sanctions as the Commission may impose in accordance with North Carolina General Statute 62-310. That brings us to the hearing today. By filing made in this docket, the respondent has consented to a remote proceeding. Because we're proceeding remotely, it's critical that you all remain on mute unless you're speaking, and that you take necessary steps to avoid causing or creating interference with my ability or the court reporter's ability to hear the speaker. All right, in compliance with the requirements of the State Government Ethics Act, I remind all members of the Commission of their responsibility to avoid conflicts of interest and inquire whether any commissioner has a conflict of interest with respect to the matter coming before us this afternoon. All right, the record will reflect that no conflict has been identified. So we will move forward with the proceeding, and I now call on counsel to announce their appearances. We'll begin today with Commission staff.
Well, my space bar worked just a minute ago. Good afternoon, Chair Mitchell and Commissioner Sam Watson on behalf of Commission staff.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Watson. I don't see the public staff here. Respondent, you may proceed.
Good afternoon, Chair Mitchell, Commissioners Duffley and Brown-Bland. I'm Patrick Buffkin of the Bailey and Dixon Real Law Firm in Raleigh, appearing on behalf of the respondent, Water Resources Incorporated.
Good afternoon, Mr. Buffkin. All right, and the complainant.
Yes, ma'am, I'm here. Hold on, I'll start video. Eric Olsen, I'm present.
All right, good afternoon, Mr. Olsen.
Thank you. Yes,
all right, as a reminder, we're here today to hear from Commission staff and from the respondent and not to address the merits of the complaint. So I'll ask that you all do your best to comply with that reminder, and we will go ahead and begin. I'll start first with Commission staff. Would you like to be heard this afternoon?
Just briefly,
right,
as you indicated in your opening statement, we are here today. We've scheduled a show cause proceeding for the utilities' failure to comply with the order serving complaint and requiring an answer. As the Commission's files indicate, the order was served on February the 2nd, and an answer was due no later than February the 12th. And as of the time of the order, and in fact still today, no answer has been filed by the respondent utility. And so the Commission has jurisdiction under 62-310. Any public utility which violates or refuses to conform with any rule or order of the Commission is subject to penalty and appropriate sanctions. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you, Mr. Watson. All right, Mr. Buffkin, you may proceed.
Thank you. The respondent, Water Resources, calls to the stand Dennis Abbott.
All right, Mr. Abbott, let's go ahead. Let's see. You just went off camera. Can you please go back on screen, on camera? Oh, there you are. All right, Mr. Abbott, let's go ahead and have you affirm. Would you please raise your right hand? You affirm that the testimony you're about to give shall be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth.
I do.
All right, you may proceed, Mr. Buffkin.
Thank you, Chair Mitchell. Mr. Abbott, will you state your full name and business address for the record, please?
My name is Dennis Abbott. My business address is 5970 Fairview Road, Suite 710, Charlotte, North Carolina, 28210. And I'm the president of Water Resources.
Thank you, Mr. Abbott. Do you have a prepared statement?
I do.
Chair Mitchell, if it pleases the commission, I'd like to have witness Abbott read his prepared statement, and then he'll be available for questioning by the commission.
All right, you may proceed, Mr. Abbott.
Thank you. Again, my name is Dennis Abbott, and my business address is 5970 Fairview Road, Suite 710, Charlotte. Since 1993, I've been president of Water Resources, and in that role, I am responsible for all aspects of the regulated water utilities business operations to provide service to customers in the Rocky River Plantation subdivision in Cabarrus County and the River Walk subdivision in Mecklenburg County, North Carolina. In addition to serving as president of Water Resources, I am part owner of a residential services and management company named First Service Residential Carolinas that has no affiliation with Water Resources, however. As the owner and operator of a small water utility regulated by the Commission, I want to begin by acknowledging the Commission's authority to supervise and control the public utilities of the state. The service we provide to our customers is vital to their daily lives, and I know that the Commission takes its responsibility seriously. I want you to know that I take my responsibility as the operator of a public utility just as seriously. I also want to acknowledge that Water Resources has fallen short of meeting the Commission's reasonable expectations for how a water utility should be run, and I will offer to the Commission some improvements that I believe will avoid a situation like this in the future. Lastly, I understand that the focus of today's hearing is to answer for Water Resources' failure to respond to the Commission. But if allowed, I will also provide a brief update on the actions that we have taken to resolve the complaint that was filed in this docket. I first became aware of Mr. Olsen's complaint through communications with the public staff in November of 2020. These communications continued before and after the filing of the complaint on February 1st of 2021. During these communications, I assumed that the public staff was updating the Commission on the progress being made to investigate the complaint and to resolve the issues that Mr. Olsen complained about. While I was aware that the Commission and the public staff are separate agencies, I realize now that this was an incorrect assumption and a mistake on my part. My communications with the public staff have been very professional and constructive, and I want to thank them for the efforts that they have made to assist Water Resources in this matter. In the future, I will take greater care to keep the Commission current on the affairs of Water Resources, in addition to continuing my constructive conversations with the public staff. In addition, the experience gained through communications with the public staff has made me realize that Water Resources has an immediate need to improve its business operations in several ways. First, Water Resources has a need to improve responsiveness to customers. As a small utility, Water Resources has 2 part-time employees. We have one, which is a bookkeeper, and the second part-time employee is a customer service representative. The customer service representative's duties include monitoring a voicemail box where customers can bring to our attention any issues that they are experiencing during the unusual circumstances of the pandemic during this past year. The customer service representative was not supervised to the same level that would normally happen or to the level needed to provide adequate service to customers. This is a failure on my part and has now been corrected. Water Resources has made changes in its staffing. We're replacing staff as recently as last week, and also established more appropriate operating procedures for notifications that are in the voicemail and responding to customers' concerns. I expect that this will result in immediate and demonstrated improvement in customer responsiveness. Secondly, I have recognized that Water Resources has a need to separate its business operations more clearly from those of my residential management company, First Service Residential. To accomplish this, I'm executing a plan to establish Water Resources business office in a separate suite from First Service Residential. This separate suite will provide a dedicated voicemail box and a postal mailbox that provides immediate electronic notification to Water Resources staff of every voicemail and postal delivery. This should reduce customer confusion and improve Water Resources responsiveness to customers, the public staff, and the commission. In addition, during this proceeding, I've recognized a need to update my contact information with the commission, which should ensure timely receipt of notifications. For example, I have noted that my contact information in this docket is outdated and I was not included in the service list for the docket. I'm also working to implement a standard operating procedure to more frequently check filings at the commission related to Water Resources, keep my contact information current, and to ensure that I am personally receiving communications or notifications from the commission. As with our change in staffing, I personally take responsibility for improving my supervision of Water Resources activities, and I will be more closely supervising Water Resources employees. Lastly, and I recognize that we are not here to discuss Mr. Olson's complaint, I would like to let the commission know that the leaking water meter box was repaired at no expense to Mr. Olson 2 weeks ago. Roughly about 10 days ago. We plan to work with Mr. Olson to formalize our resolution of his complaint and to provide the commission with a more detailed and formal notification that the issues Mr. Olson has raised have been resolved. In closing, I want to reiterate my understanding of the Commission's authority to regulate Water Resources and to offer my apologies to the Commission on behalf of Water Resources for failing to respond to the complaint filed by Mr. Olson. We have learned a lot about how our utility was being operated because of this experience, and we have identified areas of improvement as I have outlined here today. I will personally and immediately be implementing these changes, some of which have already begun. With these improvements in place, Water Resources will be able to better meet with the expectations of the Commission and the public staff, and just as important, we will be improving our customers' experience. While I regret the events that brought us to this hearing today, I do appreciate the Commission providing me an opportunity to explain the mistakes that were made and the ways that we will improve in the future. I'll be happy to answer any questions that you may have.
Chair Mitchell, the witness is available for questions from the commission.
All right, thank you, Mr. Buffkin. Mr. Olson, thank you for your statement this afternoon. Have a few questions for you, and then I will pause to see if my colleagues have questions for you as well.
Excuse me, I'm sorry. Did you mean Mr. Olson or Mr. Abbott?
I'm sorry, Mr. Abbott.
Okay.
Mr. Abbott, do I understand your statement to be that you've been the president of Water Resources since 1993?
Correct.
And Water Resources has been a public utility subject to the jurisdiction of the Utilities Commission since that time?
That's correct.
Okay. Mr. Olson, obviously we're here today because Water Resources did not respond to the order that was issued by the commission directing the company to satisfy the demands of the complainant or to file an answer. Several months passed from when, from the deadline established by that order, and we heard nothing from you. Help us understand why that is. In your statement today, you've explained to us the improvements that you all are going to make going forward, and I certainly am glad to hear about those improvements, and will stay abreast of those changes as they're implemented. But we need to know why in those several months we heard nothing from you, from you or from the company.
Again, that was my mistake in my communication with the public staff, that I was under the belief that was meeting the requirements to respond to the Utilities Commission. I understand that was a mistake on my part. I did respond to the public staff and made them aware what was going on, and they're very helpful and again very professional in resolving the issue. But that is my mistake.
So subsequent to our February 2nd order, which directed a response from you by February 12th, you were in communication with the public staff?
Yes, ma'am.
And with whom on the public staff were you communicating?
Sarah Cummins, I believe is her name.
And can you explain to me the nature of those communications? What were you all specifically discussing?
We were discussing this complaint and I gave her an update. We discussed it, verbally gave her a response, and then we emailed her a response as well. She had followed up and asked us to submit a response in writing, which I did on March the 2nd. I sent her an email in response to this particular complaint. Again, she was very nice, very helpful. And again, it's my mistake. It's not hers. It's my mistake in thinking that that would satisfy the request from the commission for a written response.
Right, Mr. Abbott, in your remarks just a moment ago, you indicated that you hadn't kept or maintained up-to-date contact information with the commission. Can you help me understand why that is? If your company is regulated by the commission and you're not keeping your contact information up to date, how are we supposed to find you and access you when we need you?
Well, that's a fair question. I'm not sure that I have a good answer for you. I thought that the information that I provided in the last rate case with my contact information would satisfy that. And clearly not. And we did move into, we set up emails separate for water resources, whereas they used to always come into my property management company. And so I segregated that and set up separate email addresses for water resources. And I didn't update the commission that there was a new email address for me regarding water resources business. And that was an oversight on my part.
So when was the new email address set up?
I want to say it was probably a year and a half ago, maybe 2 years.
And prior to that time, what email address did the commission have on file for you?
It was the email address here at First Service Residential Property Management Company.
And was anyone checking that email address?
Yes, I was.
So you would have seen communications from the commission that came to that email address. Is that correct?
I did not receive a communication from the commission at that email address. I've searched my email and I didn't see one.
Okay.
If it came through, it was in a junk folder or something, and it was deleted over a period of time. But I've searched since this has all come about, and I haven't found anything. They didn't send it. I'm just saying I didn't see it.
And Mr. Abbott, who files the company's regulatory fee reports?
That's the bookkeeper that files those.
And are those filed on a timely basis?
As far as I know, they are. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, I'll pause here and see if Commissioner Brown Bland, do you have any questions for the respondent?
Just one or two. Mr. Abbott, at any time after you had contact with the public staff and after the complaint in this matter was filed, did anyone at the public staff tell you that you needed to respond to this complaint in a formal way?
No, what I recall is that Ms. Stubbins asked me to respond to her in writing. And which is why I sent her the email. And maybe I misunderstood what she was saying. And that's why I sent an email versus actual snail mail sort of letter, is because I was told that an email response was adequate. Again, I'm sure it's my misunderstanding.
What was the date of your email to Ms. Cummins?
March the 2nd.
All right. Just a second. Checking. Right. And also, after you received the commission's order serving that complaint on you, that you thought that answering Ms. Cummins satisfied the requirement? Is that your testimony?
Yes, ma'am.
And you've since become aware that was not sufficient, that you need to respond directly to the commission?
Yes, ma'am, that's correct.
And make what is called your legal answer and response?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. All right, that's all the questions I have, Chair Mitchell.
All right, Commissioner Duffley.
I just have a couple of follow-up questions. The March 2nd, 2021 email that you sent to public staff, have you filed that in the current docket? Have you filed it with the commission?
I don't believe we have filed that, no.
Okay, are you planning on filing that with the commission?
I'll be more than happy to, yes, ma'am.
And why have you still not filed an answer?
Well, this all became aware to me last week, and working towards this hearing, and then don't have a real straight answer for you. I'm more than happy to provide that answer at this point in time. Again, up until last week when I spoke with my counsel, I was confused as to responding to the public staff did not satisfy the response to the Utilities Commission. Again, that's my mistake. And so we will file the answer this week.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Abbott.
Yes.
All right, Mr. Abbott, just following up there on Commissioner Duffley's questions about the answer. Obviously we directed your company to file an answer by February 2nd. We're into June now, and we haven't received an answer. And while I recognize you just responded to Commissioner Duffley that you all were going to file one shortly, you do understand, sir, that when you're directed by this commission to take action, you are to take it.
Yes, ma'am, absolutely.
And that if you don't take it, we have the authority under the statutes to take appropriate action and response, including we're able to fine you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, and you do understand, Mr. Abbott, that we exercise jurisdiction over the rates that you're charging your customers and the service you provide.
Yes, ma'am, I do.
All right, and that once again, when this commission orders you to do something, orders your company to do something, there is no, the only appropriate response is to take the action that the commission has directed you to take.
Yes, ma'am, I do recognize that. And again, I apologize that didn't happen here. It won't happen again.
All right, you are obligated by law to comply with our with statutes and regulations that pertain to your business as well as our orders, and that is absolutely the expectation that you comply with all of those. All right, Mr. Buffkin, I'll give you an opportunity to ask questions of your client on any questions that we've had for him.
Thank you, Chair. Thank you, Chair. No questions from the respondent.
Okay. Mr. Watson, I'll check in with you. I wasn't, do you have questions for the respondent based on anything we've asked?
No, I have no further questions either. I was, my only, I guess, question for the bench is if we could set a date by which to expect a response to the order serving complaint, either a response indicating that they've satisfied the complaint or an answer to the complaint. So if we could just set a new deadline, that would be very helpful. We typically allow 10 days from the issuance of the order, so that would certainly be satisfactory.
All right, Mr. Buffkin.
That would be acceptable to the respondent.
All right.
Chair Mitchell, it's Commissioner Duffley.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
thought I heard the testimony was that they would file their answer or response by the end of this week.
Well, we'll certainly take, Mr. Buffkin, we'll take the answer or response as soon as you're prepared to file it. Obviously, we're here today because none has been filed yet. So the sooner you can get it in, the better. But we'll give you the 10 days and expect it to be in as soon as possible.
That's very generous, and thank you very much for that, Chair Mitchell.
All right. All right. Anything else for the respondent? Anything from the commissioners? Commissioner Brown-Bland? Okay. Commissioner Duffley? Okay. All right. With that, we have come to the end of the proceeding today. Thank you all for being here this afternoon. And we will be adjourned. Thank you very much.